Mr. Peel.
He's muted.
He has everybody muted. Yeah. You're muted.
Good morning. We'll get started in just a moment. Mr. Bill, did you make it into work?
I did. Luckily, right after we crossed the bridge, I saw it. We jumped off. And took
You got lucky. I was in between the bridges. So I was in it for about an hour.
Wow.
I know, it was a mess. Apparently, somebody just leaving to go on vacation for 6 weeks. Exit City, the motorhome and truck they were pulling caught on fire.
Oh, wow.
I-10.
Oh,
Mass Anahuac exit, so. All right, Thames County Probate Court come to order. Cause number 95, the state of Ramona Deering.
Morning, Judge.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
And sir, just for efficiency, we're here on the Ramona Deering estate and the Tommy Deering estate. His estate is 9-6.
Okay, so we'll go 9-6 and we'll take 9-5 and 9-6, Thomas Deering
Okay.
and Ramona Deering.
Yeah, and our motions are identical for the both of the estates, so I think I can address them at the same time.
Okay, and you're going to testify?
We're here on a motion to transfer and consolidate, Your Honor. I don't have any witnesses.
Okay, but you may proceed, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. As you may know, Judge, Thomas Deering and Ramona Deering were married. They're a married couple. They died within a few days of each other, which is why their estates were probated largely together. Dr. Robert Nix is my client. He's the independent executor for both Tommy Deering's estate and Ramona Deering's estate. And we had been proceeding with the administration of both estates and received a claim from a company in which Tommy Deering had an ownership interest. He was a partner. The company's name was Thermal Designs. The claim was filed in both Tommy's estate and Ramona's estate because, of course, if Mr. Deering had an ownership interest in the company, then Mrs. Deering would have a community property interest in that partnership interest in the company. And so we received the claim in both Tommy and Ramona's estates. We rejected it for a variety of reasons we don't need to go into today. And then Thermal Designs filed suit in both Thomas Deering's estate and Ramona Deering's estate. And Your Honor, we're here on a motion to transfer both, just the litigation, not the administration of the estates, but just the litigation with Thermal Designs in both estates to district court, and to, if we could please consolidate those so that Dr. Nix, the lawsuits are identical in facts and evidence and everything. And Dr. Nix is the same defendant in both. Thermal Designs is the plaintiff in both. And we were hoping to transfer those to district court, Your Honor, and also to consolidate them into one proceeding.
Okay, is there anyone on from representing Thermal Designs?
I believe I saw Mr. Francis a moment ago, but I don't know where he went.
He's
Mr. Francis?
Francis.
Paul Francis?
I think
Yeah,
so.
Yeah,
he's
he's
on.
still on, Judge. His audio and video are both turned off.
All right, Mr. Francis, if you can hear me, you're muted. Okay, so you filed a motion, Ms. Smith,
I did, yes, sir.
and did they file a counter motion?
No response that I saw, Your Honor.
Okay, Melinda, no response.
They answered his original application, but as far as the hearing, the only thing that was filed was the notice of hearing.
Yeah, and to clarify, our motion to transfer and consolidate was embedded within our answer. We just filed it all as one pleading and then noticed the motion for hearing today.
Okay, so my understanding, since we now have a county court at law, that that's the proper venue for a transfer out of county court.
Okay,
It's going to be transferred to the county court at law. Now,
okay,
he doesn't have the probate experience, so if he chooses to transfer to district court, I think he can do that.
Okay, and
You
Your
know-
Honor, I just wanted to clarify because section 32.003A of the Estates Code provides that in a county where there's no statutory probate court or county court at law exercising original probate jurisdiction, my understanding was this court exercised original probate jurisdiction.
No, this
Then-
court does.
Right. So then the statute says that the parties may request the assignment of a statutory probate court judge or a district court judge and have it transferred to either of those.
What
And so
number was
we
that?
did- That's section 32.003A of the Estates Code.
Okay. I'll take a look at that.
Okay.
And I'm okay transferring to district court if that's what the request is, and if that's proper to do that.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so I don't see, what was his name?
Paul
Paul
France.
Francis.
I don't see Mr. Francis on any longer.
Yeah, he's no longer on the meeting, Judge. He was on there with no audio or video, and he's now on there, not on there at all.
All right, so did you actually file a motion also?
Yes, sir. Our motion, we did file our motion and it was embedded within our answer. We just did it in one pleading. And then I don't believe Mr. Francis filed a response.
All right, so did you file an order also? Transfer?
I thought I did, but let me just double check. If not, I will certainly file one this morning.
Okay, well, I'm gonna agree to your transfer. And it will be district court if I can properly transfer it there. And it looks like I
Okay.
can, so.
Okay, yeah, I'm,
Brand
for
new.
some reason, I
County
apologize, Your
court
Honor.
law is brand new as of January 1, so we're still learning it.
Okay. Yeah, and I wasn't even aware y'all had a county court of law. Great job.
That's neat.
for
All right,
Thank you, sir.
ma'am.
Appreciate it. I'll get my proposed order filed this morning.
thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, calls number 20 CPR 0099, State of Jimmy Lee Kramer. Mr. Bill,
That one was postponed.
oh, it was?
Yes.
I tell you what, let's go ahead and swear everybody in. Anybody that's going to testify this morning, raise your right hand, please.
Do y'all swear or affirm that the testimony you're giving today is true and correct, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, you can put your hand down. All right, so we're passing on 9921 CPR 0004, the state of Donald Homer Sawyers. Mr. Bill?
All right, thank you, Judge. All right, Mr. Sayes, you already been sworn in. Come on up here a little bit so we can get by the microphone.
Morning.
Can you say, I'm sorry, Judge, can I go?
You can go. You may proceed.
Okay. All right. Mr. Sayes, can you state your name for the record, please?
Darren Keith Salyers.
Okay. And we're actually here for two probates today, but right now we're on this first one, which was your dad, correct? Donald Homer Sawyers, correct?
Correct.
And he died on August 15th, 2020.
Correct.
He was how old? 84?
84.
Okay. And 4 years have not elapsed since his death, right?
Right.
Okay. Was your dad a resident of Chambers County?
Yes, sir.
And he was never divorced after this will was executed, right?
No, sir.
Okay. And after the will was executed, no children were born or adopted by your father, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, come down. Now, at the time the will was signed, your dad was at least 18 years of age,
Yes.
and he was of sound mind to the best of your knowledge.
Yes.
And as far as you know, he did everything according to law, correct?
Yes.
And he did not revoke his will to the best of your knowledge, correct?
No.
Okay. To the best of your knowledge, no contest or objection to this probate has been made, right?
Right.
Now, in the will actually named your brother Dwayne Wesley Sawyers as independent executor, right?
Yes.
But based on the fact that he lives where?
Columbus, Ohio.
In Ohio, it's more convenient that you handle this matter, correct?
Yes, sir.
And your brother has actually signed a document, an affidavit that's been filed with the court to relinquish his duties and let you become the executor, correct?
Yes,
And you two are the only beneficiaries in the will as well.
yes,
Okay. And your dad had property and things of that nature, so there's a necessity for this administration, right?
yes,
No governmental agency or charitable organization is a beneficiary of the will, right?
no, sir.
And there's no need to have an appraiser or anything for the estate, right?
No, sir.
Okay, also, the will was self-approved. Grab the will for me. And we filed this, this is your dad's will, correct?
Yes,
Okay, and this is a copy that we filed, the original with the court. The witnesses here, the names are really unreadable, correct? We can't figure out who the
Correct.
witnesses were.
correct,
And we've searched and we've tried to do that, but we can't figure out who they were, correct?
correct.
Okay, and that's why we have these two witnesses here today. And John Kemp and Elizabeth Royer, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, and first I'm gonna go with Elizabeth. Slide up here a little bit by the mic. Okay. Elizabeth, you're personally acquainted with Donald Sawyers, correct?
Correct.
And how long had you known Mr. Sawyers? Before he passed?
Since they moved back, probably approximately 5 years.
Okay, but you were acquainted with Mr. Sawyer's signature, correct?
Yes, sir.
And I say Mr. Sawyers, we're talking about the decedent Donald,
Yes,
correct?
sir.
Okay. And there's a will of Mr. Sawyer's there. Now, do you recognize that as being his signature?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Mr. John Kemp, if I ask you those same questions that I asked Ms. Royer, would your answers be significantly the same?
Yes,
Except you knew him a little longer, is that correct?
yeah, since probably the late 70s.
Late 70s?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And you recognize that as well as being Mr. Sawyer's signature, is that
Yes,
correct? Okay. Okay. So, Darren, we're asking the court to enter the will into probate and so that you become executor so that we can take care of your dad's estate, correct?
correct.
Okay. That's all I got.
All right, everybody admit the will of probate and authorized letters. Good morning to all of you.
Hi.
All right, so let's go right into 005, the state of Dolores Sawyers.
Yeah. And
Okay.
same situation, Judge. Just the only difference here is it's mom. So, Darren, could you state your name once again for the record for this call's number?
Darren Keith Salyers,
Okay. And Dolores, how you say your mom's middle name?
Adrian,
Adrian. Okay. So Dolores Adrian Sawyers died, and we had to do an AKA because of some of the documents were spelled a little different. Dolores Adrien Sawyers, same person, correct?
correct.
Okay. And when did she pass away?
It's the December 5th,
Fourth, possibly.
4th, I mean, December 4th. Last
Okay.
year.
And how old was she?
She was 82.
And 4 years had not elapsed, obviously, since the date of her death.
Correct.
Now, she was a resident of Chambers County as well, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, she was never divorced after this will was executed, right?
Right.
And she didn't adopt any kids or anything after the will was,
No.
okay. Come down. And obviously, when she executed this will, she was at least 18 and she was of sound mind to the best of your knowledge, correct?
Correct.
She did not revoke the will to the best of your knowledge.
No.
Okay. And as far as you know, like I said once in the last one, you and your brother are the only beneficiaries of her will as well.
Correct.
And so he's not filed a contest, or anybody filed a contest in this will. Okay. Now, same thing, Mr. Dwayne Sawyers was named as executor in your mom's will, but he has also filed an affidavit relinquishing his duties and giving them to you, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you're in agreement with that, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. A necessity of it, there's a necessity for this administration, right?
Yes.
Okay. No need, there would be no need for an appraiser or anything anybody to be appointed for
No.
this estate. And no governmental agency or charitable organization has been named as a devisee or beneficiary of the will, correct?
No.
Okay. Now, same thing here. Miss Royer, I've got a copy of Dolores's will. The original has been filed with the court. Do you recognize that as her signature?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how long did you know Dolores?
Same, about 5 years.
Okay. And but you were acquainted with her signature, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you recognize that as her signature?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And same thing, Mr. Kemp, you signed an affidavit as well saying that you recognize her signature, right?
Yes.
And if I ask you the same questions, your answers be the same,
Yes.
except you knew her also about 30 years, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you recognize that as a copy, as her signature, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so we're asking the judge to admit this will also to probate so that you can take care of the estate and be named independent executor, right, Mr. Sawyers?
Yes.
Okay, that's it, Judge.
All right, everybody admit the will of probate and authorize letters.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Sir, thank you all. Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you.
All right, cause number 21, CPR 0018, state of Sandra Diane Sebring. Mr. Jackson, good morning.
Good morning, Judge. How you doing?
Good, sir. You may proceed when you're ready.
All right. I call Mr. Sebring. Mr. Sebring, please state your full name.
John Michael Sebring.
And how are you related to Sandra Diane Sebring?
I was her spouse.
And how long have you been married to her?
On her passing, 44 years.
When did y'all get married?
May 16th, 1975.
Were y'all still just out of high school?
We weren't quite out of high school.
You're still in high school when you got married.
Yes.
So all properties that you have are yours and hers, a community, is that right?
Correct.
And there's a necessity for administration of the state, right?
Yes.
And she died on September the 2nd, 2019, is that right?
Yes, correct.
She was 60 years of age.
Right.
How did she die?
Accidental from a fall, and I guess concussion.
Concussion?
Well, yeah, it's died in her sleep that night. So
Now, she did not have a will at the time of her death, did she not?
no, sir, no way.
And you're asking the court to enter this as an independent administration, is that right?
Correct.
And you're asking the court to appoint you as administrator.
Yes.
No children were born to or adopted after this, is that right?
Right.
Any children of your marriage?
Just one.
And who is that?
Jason Michael Sebring.
Is he the gentleman sitting right behind you?
Yes, sir.
And how old is he?
He's 45.
And you've talked to him about this?
Yes, sir.
He has no objection to you acting as executor?
None at all.
And you're asking the court to appoint you as executor?
Yes,
No reason why you'd be disqualified?
none.
I'll pass this witness to Lila. Is
Ms.
Lila?
Savage,
Yes, I'm here.
you may proceed, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
You can.
Okay. Mr. Sebring, did your wife have any other children other than Jason?
No, ma'am.
Okay. at this point in time, did she ever adopt another child?
No,
And do you, during your marriage, your property that you accumulated, was it all accumulated during your marriage?
yes, it was.
Okay. Did she have any separate property at all?
Not out of our marriage, no.
But did she have any other
That
property?
property that she had bought in Liberty County, just in her name while we were married.
But it was while you were married.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you have any property in another state?
Yes, ma'am. I have a lot in Louisiana.
Okay. And did you purchase that while you was married to Ms. Sebring?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And I'd pass the witness.
Jackson.
Your Honor, I would call Michelle Tanner. Michelle,
Have say.
please state your full name.
Michelle Smith Tanner.
And are you familiar with Sandra Diane Seaborn?
Yes, sir, I am.
Can you tell the court how you're familiar with her?
I met her, I lived in Katy, Texas in 1991.
And is that where she lived?
No, that's where I was living.
How'd you meet her?
I met her through my ex-husband and Mike worked together and we were introduced.
All right. So you've been friends with her since that time?
Yes, sir.
And you know she died on September the 2nd, 2019?
Yes, sir.
And she's filed for the administration. And her husband has filed for the administration of the estate. You know that?
Yes, sir.
And as far as their heirs, she only had one child.
Yes, sir.
That was Jason.
That's right.
He sits right behind you.
Yes, sir.
And did she ever speak to you about making a will?
No, sir, she did not.
You think that she would have talked to you if she had?
We talked about so many things, but never a will, and that's kind of personal.
Okay.
But no, sir, I don't think she would have brought that up.
I'll pass the witness to Miss. I'll pass the witness.
Okay.
Ms. Savage.
Yes. Ms. Tanner, to your knowledge, Ms. Sebring never had any other children other than Jason?
No, ma'am, just Jason.
And to your knowledge, she never adopted a child?
No, ma'am.
And in regard to this estate, do you have any monetary interest in it?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Okay. And in regard to Ms. Sebring, if she had had a child prior to her marriage or during the marriage with some other person other than Mr. Sebring, do you feel like she would have discussed that with you and told you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So you feel certain that these two are the only ones involved, but Mr. Sebring and his son, Jason.
Absolutely.
And you knew her since 1991?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
I have no further questions. I would call the next witness, Your Honor.
Please do.
Mr. Anthony Townsend, please come forward. Please state your full name.
Anthony Townsend.
And are you familiar with Sandra Diane Seaborn?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell the court when you met her and how you met her?
We met somewhere around 93, 94. I actually met Sandra and Mike through their son, Jason. We were neighbors and I had an old truck and Jason was hounding me about buying the truck. And Mike and Sandra, they lived behind me and they drove right by our house every day. And I finally just flagged them down, told them that I'm not going to sell the truck to Jason. Just do not, because it was wore out.
So Jason never got his truck.
He didn't get that truck, no, sir.
All right,
So that's where I actually met them.
all right. Are you aware that she died on September the 2nd, 2019?
Yes, sir.
Are you aware she had no will at the time of her death?
I would not know that, no, sir.
And she had one child, that's Jason,
Yes, sir.
the truckless Jason.
Truck was Jason.
And you were not paid anything to be present today.
No.
I'll pass witness.
Ms. Savage.
Yeah, Mr. Townsend, do you have any monetary interest in the estate of Miss Seaburn?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and in regard to any children, do you have any knowledge if she had any other child other than Jason?
None whatsoever.
Okay, and you knew her for a fairly long time, and do you feel like if she had another child, she would have discussed that with you?
Yes, we would have known, yes.
Okay, and that's all I have, Your Honor. I'll pass the witness.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson.
As far as the application for airship, that's it, but we'll go forward with the estate itself.
All right, so Ms. Savage, are you satisfied with the order on the judgment declaring airship?
Judge, the only question I had with the order, and if I might just ask Mr. Jackson, if it's okay, in regard to, you had listed that 100% of the property went to Mr. Seaburn.
Yes.
Now, that would be the community property. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. And in regard, if she had any,
if she had
any separate property, would you want to put in there that a third would go to the person would go to him and 2/3 to the child?
I can certainly do that.
And that just in case, I'm sure there probably isn't any, but just since we're doing the order now, it might be best to add that in about the separate property if there something should come up.
I'll do that and forward it to you.
Okay, that's the only question I have with it, Judge.
Okay, and you're talking about the independent administration order, not the
airship order.
Okay, I was looking at it.
He'll get 100% of the community goes to the husband. And then if there's any separate property, personal property, a third would go to him and 2/3 to the child. And then on real property, he'd just get a life estate into a third of it, which probably won't come up. But when they do the inventory, if some separate property should show up, I'd like for that to be in there.
No, I agree. That should be in there. Thank you, ma'am. What about a bond?
That's going to be, will bond be waived, Your Honor?
Is there a necessity for a bond?
No, there's not.
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, then I'll agree to waive the bond. And are you through with your testimony on the independent administration, Mr. Jackson?
I am, Judge.
All right, so I'm going to approve the judgment declaring airship and with the changes that were mentioned, if you'll file that, Mr. Jackson, and then the order granting independent administration and authorizing letters.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, cause number 21, CPR 0039, the state of Joanne Young.
Welcome to the probate docket.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Mr. Davidson, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Doing very well.
Proceed, Counselor.
I'm juggling two Zoom hearings, so forgive me. I'm trying to get
I
this
hear the
other
one in the
muted.
background. That's quite all right.
But I've been sworn in. I will be testifying this morning in this estate.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Joanne F. Young, the decedent, died on February 26, 2021 in Baytown, Harris County, Texas, at the age of 87 years, and 4 years have clearly not elapsed since the date of her death. This court has jurisdiction in venue in that she had a fixed place of residence there in Chambers County at the time of her death. Your Honor, to the best of my knowledge, the document that was been filed with the court dated October 21st, 2019 was the last will and testament of Ms. Young, and that document was never revoked so far as I know. I would request that the court take judicial notice that you have the original will in the court's file.
Hold on.
Thank you. There was no state, governmental agency, or charitable organization named in the will as a devisee. After the date the will was made, there were no children born to or adopted by the decedent, nor was there a marriage of the decedent dissolved after the date that the will was made. Her will named her son, Irvin S. Young III, to serve as independent executor without bond. He is not disqualified to serve in that capacity, and I'm requesting that the will be admitted to probate. That upon execution and filing of the oath, that Mr. Young III be appointed as independent executor of the estate. That appraisers be waived, as this is not a taxable estate, Your Honor.
Admit the will of probate and authorize letters. Thank you, Counsel.
Very good. Thank you, Your Honor. Have a great
All
afternoon.
right, cause number 42, state of Glenda Francis Pierce. Mr. McCall, good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear us?
I can hear you now, sir.
Okay.
And when you're ready, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Your name is Patrick Scott Pierce, is that correct?
Yes,
Your mother was Glenda Francis Pierce?
correct,
She passed away on January the 23rd of this year, is that correct?
correct,
And she had her fixed place of residence in Chambers County on the day she passed away?
correct.
And we filed her original will for probate in this court, is that correct?
Yes, correct.
And you recognize this to be her last will and testament?
Yes, sir.
And you recognize her signature?
Yes, sir.
So far as you know, she never revoked that will?
Correct.
Okay, and she didn't leave anything to any charitable organization or governmental entity.
No,
And the will, she didn't have any children born to her, adopted to her after the date of the will.
correct,
She didn't get divorced after the date of the will.
correct.
The will named you and your brother to be co-independent executors, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're both qualified to be independent executors.
Yes, sir.
And you're asking that the court approve your application and appoint you and your brother as co-independent executors.
Correct.
Okay, and this is your oath. I'm going to get you to sign that while we're here today. Judge, his brother is in Dallas or up close to Fort Worth, and we sent him his oath. He's going to sign that and send it back to us. As soon as we get that back, we'll scan it and file it. And then you could, I guess, sign the order once we get that filed with the court.
Sounds good. Everybody admits will of probate, authorized letters. And Mr. Pierce, I'll tell you, Linda was one of my favorite people.
Really?
Never had to wonder what she was thinking. I'll tell you.
Thank you.
Seriously enjoyed working with her. So, best of luck. Thank you. All right, so
We have grammar. You jumped over that one, Judge.
which one did I skip over?
38.
Number. Oh, I sure did. I apologize.
That's-
All right, let's go to cause number 38, the state of Thomas Grammar.
Good morning, Judge.
I was wondering why we still had people on. All right, you may proceed, ma'am.
Thank you. Would you please state your name for the record?
Shirley Brewer.
And what's your relationship to the decedent?
I'm his sister.
And did he die on November 17, 2020?
Yes,
And when he died, he was in Harris County, Texas. That's where he died.
yes,
But he actually resided in Chambers County,
Yes.
Texas at the date of his death, correct?
yes,
To your knowledge, didn't Mr. Grammer revoke his will prior to his death?
no,
And after the date of his will, he was never married anyway, correct?
right,
And he never had any children?
no,
Okay. At the time of the execution of the will, to your knowledge, was your brother of sound mind and over 18 years of age?
yes,
And did he, 4 years have not have passed or elapsed since he passed away, correct?
yes,
And were you it's your son that's the beneficiary under the will, correct?
correct,
And so no, the state of Texas or a charitable organization or anything like that wasn't a beneficiary under the will?
no,
Okay. At the time of death, Mr. Grammer just owned some personal property. He had moved in with you, correct?
correct,
But there is a necessity for the administration of his estate.
yes,
Okay. And the will appointed you as the independent executrix of the estate.
yes,
And is there any reason why you would not be qualified to serve as the independent executrix of the will?
no,
And you're asking the court to waive the appointment of appraisers?
yes,
And you're asking that you be appointed the independent executrix of the estate, correct? I have no further questions, Judge.
Okay, everybody admits will of probate and authorized letters. You ladies have a great day.
Thank you, Judge.
I
May
guess
we
I
be-
missed anybody else, Melinda. I don't see anybody else on.
No, I thought you got 100%.
All right.
Okay. And we'll talk about the.
Is there anything else in the queue that,
Well, they're gonna refile that order, Danny Jackson's office, and
right?
once it gets in my, once I e-file it, I'll put it in your queue.
All right, so I got one here on Palmer for assignment of a statutory probate judge.